Today's video topic is what I believe to be simple. Ed Donatel should be fired. And I say that I believe for it to be simple, knowing full well that the Vikings will make it complicated, therefore making it fantasy instead of reality. Kevin O'Connell spoke yesterday and confirmed that. Kevin Seifert tweeted out, full quote from Kevin O'Connell about possible coaching staff defensive play caller changes. You're always looking at things that you think might be a possible answer to help the guys play better, be more consistent. But as of right now, no, not something that I'm considering. In other words, status quo is what we'll continue to do, which is not surprising. You've been content with this defense this long into the season, 13 games in. And it's not about what you say, oh, I want our defense to make adjustments here or show different looks here. It's not about what you say, it's about what you do or don't do. This season, all season long, the Vikings defense, they've played soft coverage with their corners. The pass rush has ebbed and flowed. If the outside linebackers have a tough day at the office, there's no intention to bring pressure elsewhere. The last couple of weeks, they've dabbled in blitzing, but at most for a half in a game, only to go back to the open season shell. This year, the Minnesota Vikings have the 6th lowest blitz percentage. In the third quarter, Vikings give up the 3rd most points and their bottom 10 in completion percentage allowed. Can't get after the quarterback, and you instruct your secondary to give the receivers a 5 to 7 yard head start every play. No wonder you're last against the pass, but this has been a problem all year, and every week you continue to stick with it. Anybody with any bare minimum level of self-awareness in this situation as a defensive coordinator would say to themselves, this is not working here. What can I do to switch things up and then actually do it? But Ed Donatel, if you have to be nudged to try to act like you care about your job just to make the effort to make it appear that you're trying, this summer, guess what? We're going to go into our mixed bag. We're going to show multiple fronts. Haven't seen it. Danielle Hunter earlier this year. Yeah, you know what? He's struggling. He's still learning the system of this 3-4 base, but he's going to get better. He hasn't. At this point, there's no reason to have any more practices with the Vikings defense. There's no reason to have any team meetings on defense with Ed Donatel still in charge, defensive coordinator, because 14 weeks in, this defense has been on repeat. Why not just take the week off and show up only on Sundays? What's really frustrating is that you're a coach in the NFL, which means you're one of the brightest minds in the sport, and by default, you know more about football than I ever will, which is why you get paid a ton of money by your team. But why is it that everyone on the outside who don't get paid by the organization, fans, content creators, media, they're able to see, and a lot of them making it known, hey, we have to do something here. Why not blitz a little bit more? Let's have our corners press up and only have them play off coverage situationally. Danielle Hunter, he's been nowhere close to the player that he was when he was in a 4-3 in this 3-4 base now. He's too valuable to have him float around on the field. Perhaps a couple of possessions a game. Let's go to a 4-3 front. What's the worst that could happen? And speaking of Danielle Hunter, how about his only job is to rush the passer instead of dropping back in coverage? Everyone who doesn't get paid by the team, they can see that clearly. However, the supposed bright mind of a defensive coordinator who does get paid to recognize this type of stuff before everyone else does, still has no damn clue. So, Kevin O'Connell, you want to make no changes to the scheme or defensive play calling. You know what you're getting into, arguably the league's worst defense, and as the head coach, that's on you. Christian Sanders. This has been a problem since week 2. Teams just have to watch the Eagles film, and the opposing offense will eat every Sunday. Truer words have never been spoken. Isn't it crazy how, outside of Aaron Rodgers week 1, the rest of this season, there hasn't been a quarterback that's had a bad game against this Vikings defense. And you're right, the Eagles game, and I would add on top of that, 40-3, the Dallas Cowboys game, that combination is the perfect blueprint for opposing teams to study on the Vikings. So as the games get tougher, really in the playoffs, the rest of the regular season, I'm not worried about it. But in the playoffs, when the games get tougher, they're adjusting to us while the Vikings, they haven't been adjusting all season long. So unfortunately, unless we make changes, you can expect more of the same. Always B. Thought the onside kick was the right call based on how the defense was playing. Did you expect the defense to make a stop? Not happening. I get what you're saying, but under 3 minutes left, 2 timeouts remaining, and the 2-minute warning, I just think an onside kick there was not the best call in that situation. If there's any sort of prayer that maybe the defense can at least get a stop, that's the position to do it. But to your point, especially in the playoffs, if the opposing team has a lead on us, especially by more than one possession, you have to consider based on how this defense has been playing, because the offense, the opposing offense, they get the ball back. All they're going to do is drain clock and maybe even score. You may have to consider going for an onside kick at least once or twice per game. That's how bad this defense has been. Last comment by Clinton Rysick. Running every first down is predictable and defeating. Zone defense is useless if you cannot pressure the quarterback. Yeah, last Sunday against the Lions, it was like clockwork. Kevin O'Connell seemed to be hell-bent on running the football on first down, and it wasn't working. You knew that after the Lions saw it a couple of times. They say, okay, on first down, they're going to run the football, no doubt. And the Vikings, they averaged 1.3 yards per carry. It didn't work. You got to switch things up. It's been disappointing. I thought we would get the 2021 LA Rams experience with the 2022 Minnesota Vikings, the innovative offensive-minded play calling with Kevin O'Connell, and we just haven't gotten that. However, I think it can change. I think he'll get better. But on defense, you're right. No pressure on the quarterback, soft zone coverage, corners playing forever back. At this point, the defense, the players, and the coaching staff, they're just out there collecting checks. It takes me back to 2000 when I became a fan of this team for the first time, and I saw Dante Culpepper and Randy Moss kicking all sorts of ass, only for the defense to give up points right after that. And it seemed like every game was a shootout, to where if the Vikings offense can get the ball last, we have a chance to win. Other than that, you can't expect anything from this defense. We're back at it tomorrow. We'll see you then.